All right, hi everyone and welcome. We're Team SoundStir and we are so excited to be here with you today. My name is Rachel Koehn. I'm a senior strategic communications student.
My name is Alix Carruth. I'm a junior StratCom student, but I graduate in December.
My name is Kristofferson. I'm a doctoral student in computer science.
My name is Nguyen. I'm a PhD candidate in computer science department.
And then our fifth and final team member is Manav Singhal, who is actually on an internship in San Francisco and was not able to be here today, which is a bummer. There's actually one more person, though, that we'd like to introduce you today, and his name is Ren. So it's an average Tuesday afternoon in Como, and 22-year-old Ren's two-hour capstone course just finished up, which means it's time for Chipotle. So as he heads downtown, he pulls his phone out of his pocket, he opens his podcast player, and navigates to his favorite podcast, Snap Judgment. Snap Judgment is actually what got Ren into public media in the first place, and so now, almost 2 years after he started listening, he's hooked. As a college student, Ren is a habitual multitasker and a world-class procrastinator. He actually has a term paper that's due in less than 24 hours, but he's choosing entertainment, connection, and food over academics. 60% of the time, this works for Ren every time.
As the episode plays, Ren gets extremely delved into the story. When the episode ends, he wants to talk about it with a buddy, so he starts to draft up a text message to one of his friends, but quickly realizes that that friend is just not going to get it. He considers posting to Facebook, but he's afraid he's going to sound kind of lame for liking public media. He considers Twitter, but 140 characters is just not enough to get his opinion across. And then he thinks about Tumblr, but it's a blogging service that no one really uses anymore and just isn't fit for what Ren's looking for. Ren needs conversation stat. He's opened and closed every single social media application on his Samsung Galaxy S5 and has yet to find a community where his quirky public media interests won't get lost in a sea of selfies. Without a platform for interacting with other people around public media content, this is where Ren's story ends.
We've created a solution that allows Ren's story to continue. We call it SoundStir. SoundStir is the only mobile community for public radio listeners. As users consume content in the app, they connect with other people who share their listening habits. So the point of the app then is to create a space for people to interact around PMP content. Essentially, SoundStir is a social medium for public media.
It's important to note here that people can't interact with each other in our app without first interacting with the PMP content that we serve them. When Ren downloads the app, the first thing he's going to do is listen to news, audio, or podcasts from all 5 of the PMP providers. The content's provider, genre, and the self-assigned rating are going to be stored in our database, and then our matching algorithm is going to use that data to serve Ren connection suggestions with similar access histories within the app and preferences and interests that they've set. After choosing to connect with Brittany or Katie, Ren can share or chat with both of them and share content from the app. As Ren chats and connects with more and more people within the app, he's going to start to build a bigger and bigger mobile community based around the public media that he really enjoys.
All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. We are going, you guys have heard how SoundStir connects real stories with real people for real conversation. And I'm going to take you on a walkthrough of the typical user experience through SoundStir. Okay. So at first, the user is going to navigate to our SoundStir logo like they normally would and launch the app. Now, it's interesting to note here that a new user to SoundStir won't be prompted to log in. They'll go directly to our dashboard where they can consume content. It's only when a user tries to interact with more advanced features of the app, like making a connection or chatting with the person, that they'll then be prompted to create a profile. But we can log in. All right, and we go to our dashboard. And so, let me turn on the resolution on this. And so the dashboard is pre-populated with content from the user's profile. Upon creating a profile, a user enters their preferences of public media providers or genres of public media content that they would like to hear. And so upon opening the app, they come to their dashboard where they can then choose, they can filter through their content on the filter settings, or they can just select one and go. I'm going to pick the story from APM. And they're immediately consuming. Okay. And now, on our media player screen, I'll turn this on. On our media player screen, there's a lot going on here. So at the top is your typical media player. A user can shuffle forward or go back through their content. Beneath the media player is a list of connections, and this is key for SoundStir. These are connections that our user has who listen to the same content that they have. And this is going to prompt the user to begin conversations with those connections of theirs. And so we were actually having some technical difficulties with our chat feature, but if you were to click on a user, it would go to a chat screen, and the user would then be able to chat and begin conversations with their connections. A user can also rate content on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. Also in the app, a user can view their connections, and this is going to be a list of friends that the user has, where if they want to initiate a conversation, they can go through their connections list and begin a conversation based on the public media that they've consumed or anything that's going on their mind. We also have a settings screen where the user can learn about SoundStir. They can enter their preferences, privacy and security, and your typical, options here. And so basically what SoundStir does is it connects our users over public media in a way that they can interact with each other and have meaningful conversations. This is where Ren's story is going to continue. And so when we created SoundStir, we wanted SoundStir to not only benefit the user, we wanted SoundStir to be able to benefit the providers. And so when thinking about the PMP, we thought about the PMP from 2 vantage points. PMP in terms of the partners, and PMP in terms of the platform. And the question was, how can SoundStir make both of those better? Okay? On the platform side, what we've done is we've implemented in all of the above user interaction archiving strategy. We're in the era of big data analytics, and we want to bring public media along with us. So through SoundStir's database, we are amassing a collection of user interactions, listening histories, likes, dislikes, listening histories, their likes, their dislikes, their content skips. Every piece of interaction a user would have with the application, we're going to store in this database. And so when we get a large enough corpus of information, we can then employ data mining techniques, hand it off to researchers, or it may even be a future a competition here at the RJI. Also, in terms of the partners, what the partners can gain from this database is they can gain deeper insight into public media listeners. For instance, how content relates to how content relates to people, or time of day or location. If you think about it, what did a person listen to before they listened to a piece of content? What did they listen to after a piece of content? This can provide information on novel schemes in terms of the platform and how to organize content. This can also provide the public media partners with vital information on their target market and how to improve the services that they offer. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what SoundStir can bring to the PMP in terms of not just Ren and our users, but the platform and the partners.
Okay, so this is our matching algorithm, and this is the key engine that connect users together into a community. Okay, so you can see here, this is a multi-dimensional space with multiple users. You can see we have several groups, and imagine that each user has the position, and that position would be determined by the information from that user, like the preferences, the frequency that they listen to content, and the rating, or something like that. So those information will determine the position of the user in the space. Okay. So now let's take a look at one specific group. So we call it, let's say it's news and culture. So we have several users here, like we have Ren and some other users. So because the distance between them are within the range of the news and culture, we call it a match. And then that's when our matching algorithm kicks in, and it will give suggestions to connect people together, and everyone is happy to have a real conversation together.
One of the key things we wanted to do in terms of building this app was have the tech have a purpose. So we chose 18 to 24-year-olds as our target market. They live very fast-paced lifestyles. They're multitasking all the time, and they're constantly on the go, whether they're on their college campus or in their workplace. We wanted to make sure that SoundStir fit into that lifestyle, so we're only going to use audio content from the PMP in our app rather than focusing on video or text, so that people can keep moving with their daily routines and just have SoundStir integrate rather than interrupting what they're already doing.
So why did we choose this target? Well, we selected the 18 to 24-year-old age group because this group is largely missing from the PMP's current audience. So Ren's favorite podcast, Snap Judgment, does reach some younger audiences. Actually, the most popular age group for that is 33 to 42. But public media does need to become a little bit more accessible to Ren's age group, which is younger than that. So SoundStir integrates seamlessly into Ren's current lifestyle, which means that public media will also integrate just as seamlessly. When public media meets Ren where he is, Ren is that much more likely to support the engine that inspires him. So Ren gains a public media community, and public media gains a lifelong listener and contributor. Okay, so we took a look at a couple of competitors. As we've touched on, SoundStir is pretty unique, so it doesn't actually have any direct competitors. There are no other mobile communities for SoundStir. We identified a few that are sort of quasi-competitors, so that's NPR One, Stitcher, Overcast, and Pocket Casts. And all of those have media player functionality, but they don't have the social features and that entire social community within the app that Ren is looking for.
We definitely wanted SoundStir to take the next step in terms of trajectory of podcast app technology, making sure that that community is built within our app so that users don't have to exit the app to get the connections they're looking for.
So why did we choose to build SoundStir the way we did? We chose mobile because 85% of our target market is on smartphones, so they're reachable there. We chose Android because more 18 to 24-year-olds are on Android than iOS, and we chose messaging because messaging is the future of mobile and social. So public media has been in the digital space, and they've even been in the mobile space, but SoundStir adds a whole new social dimension that public media hasn't seen before. And this app, a messaging app for PMP content, will launch SoundStir into the social landscape alongside some of the most innovative mobile technologies. So we have a few ideas for some future functions for SoundStir. We won't go into them right now for the sake of time, but just know that we've got a lot of awesome things in store for you in the future of SoundStir.
About 30 minutes ago, Ren had reached the end of that Snap Judgment podcast, and he was at a dead end with absolutely no community that fit him for the connection and conversation that he wanted. But with SoundStir, we're going to allow Ren's story to continue. He's going to listen to real stories, he's going to connect with real people, and he's going to have real conversations. Welcome to the only mobile community for public radio listeners.
Thank you.
Thank you.